Colorful succulent bowls and arrangements like these are pretty and would look great inside any home. But there is one problem. It is unlikely they would last more than 2 or 3 months before the plants in them would start to stretch, grow pale and eventually start dying. It is because most of these succulents are sun lovers and have a hard time growing indoors where the light is usually just not enough. Yes, I made and sold all of those, but my customers were given growing instructions and were warned about what would happen if they were grown indoors. But there is an alternative. It may not be as colorful, but can still look very pretty. Succulents that are beginner friendly and tolerate shade better do exist and can be grown indoors. The secret is to choose the right plants and have a bright enough spot. In this video we'll make 2 indoor bowls with shade tolerant succulents and go through the whole process step by step. Anyone, even complete beginners, can make and maintain these. Here are the plants we'll be using. You can pause and read the names in order of appearance. If you're interested in seeing a few more shade tolerant succulents, I also have another video listing my favorites. When making succulent pots indoors, good succulent potting mix will provide the right nutrients and pH. This should keep your succulents happy. I usually shake the old potting mix off the roots as all of the nutrients in it have been used up, and it also helps to arrange the plants better. It's always good to fill out all of the space, as once you water, the potting mix will sink into any air pockets and the plants can move. If you can't quite reach in, a spoon or spatula can be used to get in between the plants. To get rid of any remaining air pockets and to wash dirt off the plants, give them a bit of water. The next part is not a must, and if you want, you can leave it at this point. Personally, I like to decorate a bit. Decorating is all down to one's preference. I use bigger as well as smaller river rocks. Because, as you will see at the end, the pot is sea themed, I just have to get some seashells in there. To cover up any remaining potting mix, I've put together pebbles that are 1 to 3 ml and 4 to 6 ml. The smaller pebbles will fill in any gaps, especially on the edges, and the bigger ones will add some texture. You can go wild with colors, there are so many available. Now for the little shells. I'm a huge fan of shells and would literally put them everywhere. The last thing I want to do is to arrange the chain of hearts. They are one of my favorite succulents to use in indoor arrangements and look stunning. These are nice and long, so I'm going to wrap them around the pot like a little heart crown. The final reveal of the pot is at the end of the video. Moving on to our second bowl, this one didn't come with a hole, so we're going to drill one in using a masonry drill bit, as this pot is made out of concrete. To see a full video on how to drill a hole in any pot or glass, see videos at the end. If you're a beginner, I would strongly recommend using pots that have a drainage hole. When planting out smaller bowls like these, it's best to use succulents that don't grow that big. Some can grow bigger than others and can take over the bowl, squeezing the small ones out. When buying shade-tolerant succulents for bowls, it won't hurt to do a bit of research and find out which varieties stay fairly small. I'm using Haworthia cooperi, Gasteria littleworthi, Haworthia fasciata concolor and Ceropegia woody. The concolor and Ceropegia are the largest growing out of the lot, but otherwise they all stay quite small. I'd also not recommend putting too many plants in and rather fill the empty space with pretty pebbles, shells or miniature ornaments. A lot of plants will fill the entire pot with roots faster, getting root bound. This can stop them from growing well and may cause leaf loss or stunted growth. Bowls like this one can last indoors anywhere between 1 to 4 years, all depending on how you look after them. While these succulents are shade tolerant, more light they have, better they'll grow. It is unlikely they'll keep well in dark rooms like the hallway or if you leave your blinds shut. Indoors, they won't need a lot of water. I usually water thoroughly about once every month. I'd also not recommend spraying but rather watering well infrequently. It's also worth noting the succulents will change a bit indoors unless they get loads of light. The leaves are likely to grow slightly longer and more narrow. Colorful plants like the chain of hearts can fade. But for the most part they should grow well and despite the change still look good. And here we have the end result. I really like the way it turned out, though the plants and the way they're arranged is a very personal choice and I could understand if some of you would say, not my style. And that would be totally fine. If we all like the same things, world would be a very boring place. This was filmed at one of the markets I sell at, a month after I made the arrangements. I'm happy to report that both bowls have now new homes. If you'd like a guide on making colorful succulent bowls such as this one for outdoors, I have a tutorial coming up where I'll walk you through making a couple of pots for a sunny spot outside. I'll be using completely different succulents and try to go for maximum color. And that's it for today. I do hope someone found this useful, and if you'd like to leave feedback to this video, you can do so in the comments below. To learn more about succulents, you can hit the subscribe button or go to succulentgrowingtips.com. Thank you very much for watching.